my business would grow. And so you didn't have to tell me more than once. I said, you tell me what to do, I'm going to keep doing it because I love the results. So each time we come together, I am an action-based coach. So at the end of each coaching session, I give you an action list of things to do. And this is how I think of it. If you're not in action, there's no reason for us to meet again.
That's right.
Basically, you know how, and we've all been there. We love to talk about it and it sounds important, but we're giving more lip service than we're in action. We've all been there, and then we've all moved from that to radical action, and we've seen the results. Well, I only executive coach people who are willing to be and stay in radical action. And I just have to tell you, the two individuals that are sitting in my upper left, wherever they're on your screen, when I say radical action, you will be so proud of them, as I am so proud of them. They come to each call, each session with a list of accomplishments. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes, but I'm going to turn around and I'm going to make you guys uncomfortable because I'm going to ask you to spotlight some of the highlights. Hey, Merlot, nice to see you, brother. To spotlight some of the things that have happened just because you were in radical action. Oh, by the way, during the pandemic, everything they've done has happened during the pandemic. Everything they'll mention has happened during quarantine, because we started coaching right at the beginning of this madness, like right a little bit before. And so I believe that I can pick up other people's wins and get inspiration from it. Anybody else like that? So I love to hear people's testimony. I love to hear people's testimony when I know I can relate to who they are as a person. So I'm gonna borrow some. They didn't know I was gonna do this, but they never know what I'm gonna do. I'm, coach gone wild all the time. And so I want you to be inspired by them, because I also believe that only coachable people can lead me. I want y'all to hear that. Whenever I'm working with someone or I'm thinking of working with someone and they don't show that they're coachable, because they know a lot, they normally know more than me. That's why I'm looking to hire them to be a coach in that particular area. If they're not coachable in life, then I just believe that we're not a fit, because at some point I'm gonna do everything you say and I don't want to outgrow my coach. Has any of us ever outgrown our coach? Right, right. And that's because the coach wasn't working on themselves. And so I love coachable individuals. I have a friend, may rest in peace, he passed away, and he generated $1 million a month, y'all. $1 million a month online, automated, 13 years ago. And everyone admired him, but he didn't know how to speak. When he spoke, I mean, it looked like he was sucking on a lemon. He was like, the whole time, he just looked mean. Margaret nodding, laughing, because she knows who I'm talking about. And so this $1 million a month man asked me to coach him on speaking. And I said, well, I'll coach you on speaking, Michael, if you coach me on how to make automated money, right? Because obviously he had that down pat. And it made me realize how valuable he was, because with all of his business success, he realized that he still needed help. And so Chantel, Mwale, just rattle down the list of some of your big achievements since, because they invested a lot, you guys, in having me coach them one-on-one. I'm okay with that. I know the results that I promised to produce and that I work hard to produce. So the investment is significant. To some people might not be anything, but to most people, it is a significant investment. And when they decide to make this investment in themselves, it was important for them to have some results. So I said, what are we looking for? And I just want you guys to hear, because they're using their last coaching session that could be just for them. And they said, I'm for you. I'm seeing y'all. So for a moment, just oh no, unmute yourself, and it'll sound better.
All right, so just some of our top level wins that we will be able to accomplish. Number one, we were able to pay off over $18,000 in debt. Um, Secondly, we were a big win for me as a husband. for Chantel as a legacy celebration to her mom. We were able to pay off a home, $23,000. So we were able to pay off a home in full. Also, in our last event, we were able to generate over $50,000 from our last event. Um, and more importantly for us, we were able to diversify our portfolio. So we were able to buy stocks in the areas of biotech, pharmaceutical, and in the energy sector. So that was just a big win for us as well.
Come on. So while people are trying to hold on to sanity, they're buying stock, diversifying their portfolio. They paid off her mother's home so that there's nothing owed. They paid down all their debt to zero. And so I just want you to know who you're in tribe with. Because to me, I want to run with gladiators who are doing things. Anybody inspired by what they just said? Anybody inspired by this is all in 2020. This is all the matter of fact, this is all the last 4 months. This is
That's
not
correct.
even the whole, this is the last 4 months. And so thank you guys for having me and for believing that I can definitely add value. What you see here has been the catalyst. The true catalyst books are not right there. They're somewhere in my house. I just moved here to the Bahamas 7 months ago. And so the catalyst books were Chicken Soup for the Soul. Something happened differently when and by the way, I'm not one to think I was ever going to be an author because writing was challenging for me. Writing was challenging to me for me because of my dyslexia and because of my grammar. So I equated writing, and just raise your hand if this is you. I equated writing my story and sharing my story with the fact that I have to be a good writer or I have to be good at grammar. Anybody else have that myth? Okay, let me be the first to tell you that if you had to be good at grammar or good at writing, Lisa Nichols would be the secret because I would not have a book out at all. So that's not the case. And I don't know whether it's good or whether I should be embarrassed to say, I don't know if I'm any better at grammar now than I was in 2005 when I wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. All you need to do is have good team. When I learned that all I need is good team who knows how to edit and who knows how to reshape, man, that was everything, you guys. So what happened with me with my books, when I launched books, all of a sudden it increased, somebody type in chat, increased, it increased my credibility. Write that down, increased my credibility. All of a sudden I was my first book was Chicken Soup for the African American Soul. I love it, Margaret. My first book was Chicken Soup for the African American Soul. I wasn't even writing how to. I was just writing stories. This happened and this happened. So I was writing interactive experiential stories. I see you, Ray. I see you, Tamisa. I see all the increase. Marlo, increase my credibility. I love it. So the first book wasn't even, so you don't have to write a how-to book. I wrote Chicken Soup. And oh, by the way, I just wrote 6 stories in the Chicken Soup book. I didn't write the whole Chicken Soup book. I collected other stories. But because my name was on the book, doors opened for me. Doors opened for me because now I was an author. Then I became a best-selling author. Then people regarded me on how do you get a story out. So much of it I didn't know how to do. I linked with someone who knew what they were doing. My specialty was the story. Everything else belonged to the people that I partnered with, Anne Marie. Belonged to the people that I partnered with, Shawnee. I didn't know it, but I began to learn. It opened doors for me. So the book opened doors for speaking. The book opened doors for training. I did a bookanar. I had just heard that phrase somewhere. I was like, what's a bookanar? They said it's an online webinar that you make for free. And the only thing they have to do in order to come to the webinar that's free is have your book so that you can move books. Oh my God, it was brilliant. So then when I did the bookanar, I began to learn how to train. And when I learned how to train, all of a sudden I start wanting to train. So it's everything in my life started from a book. And it started from a book that didn't even belong to me, that I was maybe 10% in. People don't realize that. But because I got a couple of speaking engagements, and I got to show my talent. That's when someone saw me and invited me to this organization. And when I went to this organization, that's where the woman who created The Secret saw me. Now, here's the deal with The Secret. The Secret was a success online, but what made it wildly successful was the book. When I tell you, I never saw it coming. I never saw that I would touch more people through this book. I never saw it coming. I never saw it coming that I would create a 4-part video from this book. I simply took the book, you guys, and I discussed it in 4 different modules on video, maybe 20 minutes each module. And I took the book and made it an online course. I've had that online course for the last, Margaret, has it been 9 years now? About 9 years. And I don't make a lot of money on the online course, but I make about $55,000 a year. I don't know. I'm good with that. But it came out of the book. So look at the book as the center, and all these tentacles go out from it. So there's the tentacle to a live webinar. There's a tentacle to a video recorded webinar. There's a tentacle to a private Facebook group that you begin to do things with. There's a tentacle, like there's all these tentacles, but it doesn't happen until you've created the center. I didn't know that. I didn't know that chicken soup was the center. I didn't know that no matter what was the center. I didn't know that abundance now. Well, by the time I got to abundance now, I figured it out. Have any of you raise your hand? You ever had a few accidental successes and then you tried to go back and figure out what you did so you can duplicate it? That was me. Because I didn't walk into this with a literary mindset, nor did I walk into it with a literary partner. Now, let me just ask you, Chantel and Mwale, because I didn't have a literary partner initially. When someone jumps into it initially with a literary partner, what are some of the things that you take off of the list for them initially?
Well, first of all, it's important that we identify what the objective is. So when you start off, if you have a literary partner, which I'll tell you, most books that are published are not published by traditional publishers because there are so many hangups with those major publishing houses. So let's say for perchance you're part of that 1% that gets picked up by a traditional publisher. Well, first of all, we want to give you your rights back, right, Mwale?
That's right.
We believe in
Hold on. Let me just speak to the power of that. Hold on. So right now, I didn't know what I didn't know when I wrote this book. Right now, I'm doing the treatment. That's what they call it in Hollywood. I'm doing the treatment for the Lisa Nichols life story.
Okay.
He made a movie, right? First thing I did was ask for the rights to this book. Because in this book lives a lot of Lisa Nichols' life story. Now, this book came out in 2009, y'all. It hasn't sold really in any abundant amount since 2015. Do you know they said, no, I can't get my rights? Keep going, Chantel. I just wanted to throw that in. It's real life.
Yeah, that's real talk, because when you're an author, you want to be able to have material that's evergreen, material that will transcend just this moment in time. If you write one book, that could literally add to 7 different streams of income. And we call it at the Bestsellers Academy, your income ecosystem. So like Lisa was explaining, having different tentacles, products and services that come from just having one book alone. Lisa, it was funny you mentioned about the different doors that opened up just because you had a book in your hand. It reminded me of when I first started out and understanding that I wanted to be a speaker. I went to Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. He's the best-selling author of The Wealth Choice and Think and Grow Rich, The Black Choice by he and Napoleon Hill. And when I came to his office, I didn't know anything about what it really took to be in the speaking game. But I knew he was someone who was in close enough proximity where I could kind of figure out a thing or two. So I went to his office and I said, you know, I just wrote this book, On a Mission, 21 Secrets for College Success. And I really think that it'll add value to your students if I came to your class and taught them some strategies from this book. And he looked at me and he said, wait, so you have this in your book and you speak? And I'm like, yeah, mind you, before that, I had only been speaking to my mother and probably my sister who would listen to me. And immediately his eyes opened up, because not only did he respect me more because I used the wisdom and I was only 25 at the time, by the way, but he respected me more because he understood I wasn't just someone with a passion, but I was now a professional. And that in his eyes gained me that credibility. And so if you want to take your speaking business to the next level, the book is going to be that credibility ingredient that will propel you forward.
Well, and you use the book as a tool. So what I did was I wanted to get on stages, Michael. So what I did was I would tell people, I'll speak for free. Just buy a book for everyone in the audience. People go, wait, you're going to speak for free? I said, yeah, I'll speak for free, but for all 300 people, buy a book. That was hands down for them. They would, and I say, and I'll stay up to 2 hours afterwards and I'll autograph the books. So now my books are going home with 300 people. I didn't get paid for the time, but now other people are learning my name. My business has over 89%, you guys, 89% organic growth. So I'm not paying advertisers. I don't have a PR person, because I found ways to put my name in people's hands and in their household. Here's what you have to know. Write this down. People throw away business cards. They don't throw away books. How many of you guys have moved and the heaviest box is the book box? And you still trek it. You still, like, I'm trying to get all my books to the Bahamas. That don't make any sense, y'all. I pay a lot of money for the weight of a box when it comes on an island. Mwale and Chantel can tell you, but I'm still trying to get my books here. And so you want to understand, you want longevity. You want someone advertising for you. And so a book is that thing that gets it done. What I love about Mwale and Chantel, and I refer them all the time. Some of you met them. Raise your hand if you met them because they were at an event that I was at, or I mentioned them. And you have to understand, I don't say people's names lightly. I have a lot of people who do a lot of services who actually offer sponsorship dollars for me to third party endorse them. I can tell you right now, I have not gotten one dime from them to third party endorse them. That's a bigger compliment than anything. The reason why I endorse them is because they're going to go beyond the call of duty for you because of who they are. Then they're going to go beyond the call of duty for you because you in this tribe, right? And I want people to navigate my story out and navigate my brand out and navigate my message out with the utmost of excellence and follow through. And that's what Mwale and Chantel does. So I'm glad to see you guys here. I'm always glad and excited when I hear somebody working with them, because or may work with them or is working with them, because I know how they're going to take care of you. And once this thing is out into the world, it's forever out into the world. So you want it done right. Correct? Don't we all? We want it done right. And you don't have to have this to build your speaking career. You don't have to have it to build your business. You can have it because you want to honor your mother. You want to honor your father. You want your children and your grandchildren to have something that that's what I'm thinking about now. Is like, what book am I going to write so my grandchildren know who grandma was? You know, what am I going to do? That's important to me now. I'm thinking about my legacy. And so you want that book to do as many of those things as possible. And you want it to be something that you're proud of. And here's what I love about a book. When you're looking at advancing your career, when you have a published book, that is a powerful body of work. I've been called now 3 times to be given an honorary PhD because Margaret's nodding because Margaret takes the call. Now, this is a chick. This one right here is a chick that they politely asked me to leave college. This is not for you, honey. You go find your gift, because college is not. Because when I was 21, my learning disability was, you laughing at me? I'm serious. When I was 21, Sherelle, I didn't quite learn as fast as everyone else. But when I caught my stride, Michael, when I caught my stride, Merlot, when I finally caught my stride, Tamisa, I could not be stopped. And this is what started coming out. Now, colleges reach out to us and say, we'd love to have give Lisa an honorary PhD because of her body of work. I know, huh? I know. Y'all clap. Thank you, Teresa. I haven't accepted one yet because I'm still nervous. I'm like, do I have to take a test? with that honorary whatever. No, actually, what's funny is I haven't accepted it yet because I want to accept it for the right reasons. I don't want to accept it to prove to anyone I could have done anything because this is my biggest contribution to give you something that you can always refer to. So I'm just checking if why would I, what am I accepting it for? And I want to accept it for a healthy reason. So anyway, your body of work in your book all pushes you forward academically, it pushes you forward financially, and it pushes you forward. And I just want to say this and raise your hand if this is you. It pushes you forward in confidence. How many of us could use that on an ongoing basis? I got to tell you guys, when I look at the accomplishment, it stops me from my head chatter because I did this. This is my body of work. I couldn't do it at first. Margaret was there when my first book came. I sobbed and I cried because I was healing the dyslexic high school student who got a fail in English. I cried over that chicken soup book because if I got a fail in English, I also got a published book now, so I must be okay. And so please, I invite each and every one of you to prioritize getting your story out, a story out through you. I invite you to take on the challenge of having a book with your name at the bottom. And if it's number one, let it be number one. If it's number two, let it be number two. If it's number three, you never could have told me I'd have 7 books. I'm trying to get to one. 7 books. And then, Michael, writing books was so painful to me because I've never worked with Mwale and Chantel, but I will. They were so painful to me. Margaret can tell you, she used to have to light candles and pray for me because I was so caught up in the, what do I say? How do I say it? That when you have a partner like Mwale and Chantel helping you to shape it, you don't have to worry about what will land incorrectly. I didn't have anyone in those early stages to help me shape it for my brand. What I love about where you can go with this is whether it's Mwale and Chantel or someone else, whoever it is for you, you want it to be a right fit. Tell them where you want to go with your brand, and then reverse engineer the strategy into the book. Ooh, y'all hear me? You need to write that one down. Where do you want to go? Beyond the book. Life is way beyond the book. But what's beyond the book? And then reverse engineer to make sure the book fits that strategy. Does that make sense, you guys? I didn't do that. I was piecemealing it because I didn't have a big strategy. I didn't have a long strategy. So I just kept attaching it and making it up as I went along. You don't want to do that. You don't want to make it up as you go along. You want to talk about 5-10 years out. And then you want to back into the book and write the book that helps the 3-year plan and the 5-year plan happen. Does that make sense, Merlot? And then you want to partner with someone, whether it's Mwale and Chantel, I recommend them. But whether it's them or not, you want to partner with someone who allows you to live in your genius. Here's why you want partners in any part of your life. Write this down. You want partners so you can stay in your lane. You want partners so you don't have to master everything. When I start trying to do graphic design, Lord, that's not my lane. When I start trying to do marketing, I did all the marketing for Chicken Soup. I did all the marketing because Chicken Soup for the Soul, that wasn't the thing they did. It's a different strategy than what you think. It's a different plan than what you think. But man, if I had to do it differently, and I was blessed. My 3rd book was The Secret. So then I had resources and I had those major publishers. But the day of major publishers is done. You can get through as many doors self-publishing or publishing with a smaller publishing house as you can get through with HarperCollins. But the difference is when you go through another publishing house, you get to negotiate what you want. You don't have to give up your rights. You don't give up your story. You don't wish and pray that they don't edit out the most important part of your book. You get to be the last vote on the cover. You get to option it out and make it into a Netflix movie and sell it to Netflix later. You want to have all that power, you want to keep it. And people think, oh, if HarperCollins or if Time Warner or Time Inc. publish it, then I'm validated. No, do your work ahead of time. You're validated. Ding, done. Right? Now make a smart business move. Because if I knew then than what I know now. If I, Michael, knew the Lisa today, back in 2008, I would have said, no, thank you. Keep that money, keep a little bit of that money. I'd rather keep the rights. Whew, whew, whew. Now I got to write a whole nother book so that the book matches the movie. Because you know when people look at the movie, they're going to want to go read the book. Well, I don't want them to pick this book up because this book, all the royalties are going to the publisher, not me. Come on, y'all. Hello, somebody. That's another thing. You don't want to get $1 on every book sold.
And Lisa, what you're saying there is
Sorry, I got excited.
what you're saying there is so critical. I remember the story of Mwale, when Mwale was crafting her message. And, for her, one of the key things, and many of you on this call, I know Michael, Teresa, one of that key question that you asked was, what do I write? Sometimes we think we don't have anything to write. And one of the key process that we support you in is getting clarity, because clarity is king, and getting that clarity in crafting that message. To Lisa's point about owning the rights, when she craft her message, we literally, is like a birthing process, right? We really, I remember when my wife, we were having our first child, and being in that birthing ward with her, all right, it's it's an out of the world experience. And one of the key things, anyone here who had the privilege of birthing for a child, in that moment, the only thing you want is to get that baby out, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're not concerned about the air. You just want to get this baby out. And we synonymize that to the same process of really bringing clarity to that purpose, where we don't want you to be caught up with, subject verb agreement. How do you, how do you organize? How do you go through the editing, the copyright? That's the least of your issue. What we really want you to focus on and to help you through the process is really honing on the core mission, the vision, what's throbbing on the inside of you that desires to be birthed out. And to Lisa's talk about rights, when we spoke with Molly and really helped her craft a message on forgiveness, this entire mission that she just pivoted in crafting her message, Tyler Perry took interest in her story, all right, because her story was about her sister who got killed in South Africa during the apartheid movement. So because she had ownership of her work, we call it partnership publishing. We're partnering with you so that you could bring forth this message. She had the flexibility to have that discussion. She didn't have to wonder, okay, can I do this? Would it be a rewarding experience? So that's really, really critical, So I really want to endorse what Lisa's sharing there from just an experiential way. So thanks so much for highlighting that.
Yeah. And for those of you who are asking the question, what do I write about? I think we make writing too heady because we make it intellectual. Writing is about sharing an experience of a hard moment that you got through so you can inspire me to get through mine. Possibly. There could be different ways you write a story. But when you pull it out and go, what if I have to climb? And not just like a financial or a physical, people are looking at emotional support. If you want to be inspired by stories, and I'm not saying this because I wrote Chicken Soup books, but grab one Chicken Soup book and read in it over 85 individual 2-page stories and realize that any one of those 2-page stories could become a book. They just need more context. I kid you not. I invited people to write a story first. And remember, a story is about a moment in time, right? Type that in chat. It's a moment in time. It's a moment in time, Michael. It's a moment in time. So think of a situation that you had to get over. You guys have heard me talk about $11.42, no Pampers. You guys have heard me talk about maybe having to get out of an abusive relationship. You've heard me talk about standing in the government's assistance line. Those are just moments. And then I put enough zhuzh around them, Michael, like you know about us at Speakers Mastermind, to make that more robust. A book is just taking several of those and attaching them several moments. If the book is about resilience, then have several moments of breakdown that you had to climb through. Now you got a book on resilience. A lot of times we make a book too intellectual. We think we got to have too much of a body of work. No, you got to have a life that you had to walk through, run through, and on some days crawl through. Now, if you've never had to walk, run, or crawl, then I don't know if you have a story. But if you've had to climb over somebody, forgive somebody, apologize to somebody, figure something out, you got a story. You just need support to learn how to craft it. That's all. I have not met anybody alive today, kids, children, they have stories. We make it so out of our, it's like if I can dare say, it's like voting. And I've been on this thing about voting lately, and Margaret and Sean and I had this candid conversation, and we finally got to the fact that we made voting on the years that we didn't vote, we made it too difficult for us because we didn't understand House of Representatives, we didn't understand bipartisan parliament, we done all that stuff. I'll probably say it wrong. Because I didn't understand it, I made it out of my league.
Yeah.
And then when all bets were in, I needed to learn it. I started studying. I was like, I understand this. Oh, I needed to give myself permission to get it. But as long as I say it was too hard for me, I ain't touching it. And so I invite you to say this is a process, and don't get caught up in the process. Get excited about getting your story out. That's what you should be excited about. So I'm in the same boat around this movie. This movie process is so freaking meticulous and detailed and long. And all I keep saying is somebody's going to turn on their television. They're going to turn to Netflix or CBS or NBC, or they're going to go to the movie. I don't even know where it's going to land. And they're going to be inspired by a mama who said it ain't over yet. They're going to be inspired by a single mama. That's all I know. And now let me do whatever I got to do to get to that mother who's never going to pick this book up. She ain't a reader. To get to that father who's never going to pick this book up. He ain't a reader, but he'll go to the movies. So I invite you, what do you do for the person who's waiting to get your story, but they need to get it in a book form? I say do that thing that you have thought about doing. I guess because you're here, Mwale and Chantel didn't give me any profile on any of you that are here. They just said, will you show up and will you bless some people in our community that we've talked to, and would you inspire us? And I was like, yeah, the answer is yes. And so I assume you are where I was. You're impregnated with something, whether you're clear about it or not. And if you're not clear about it, you're not supposed to be clear yet because it's still in your belly. That's like you asking me to describe your unborn child that's in your belly. I can't do that. But if we birth it, if we do if we give it life, then we can see the beautiful 10 fingers, see the beautiful smile. And so give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to birth that thing in you. I'd rather look back and say, oh my God, I did it all wrong, than look back and say, oh my God, I just thought about doing it. Mm-hmm. I always sign up for doing it all wrong. I intend to do it right, but I sign up to get it wrong, because when I sign up to get it wrong, I actually sign up to move. That makes sense, y'all? Because as long as you have to get it all right, you're gonna have trepidation because you got to make sure it's all right. I want it right, but if I get it wrong, I get a lesson and I'll do it again. And so I invite you guys to jump in at that level. And right now, more than ever, I'm gonna put some love and pressure on you. If you got a story that's gonna inspire a soul, let me check. Yeah, it's needed now. Yeah, let me check. Let me check, Anne-Marie. Yeah, we need some inspiration right now, Michael. We need it, Ida, right about now. And there's life after, not everyone's from America, but there's life after November 3rd. Everyone kept telling me, you need to get this out before. I said, no. I need a lot in November. I need a lot in December. I need a lot in January, because we're going to need inspiration then. This is our first holiday in this climate, right? Yes. Next year is our first beginning of the year. Get that booger out. Set a date. I see somebody for June. Who going to have their book out by June? Y'all know I'm an action coach. Who? There we go. I'm looking for the person. Sherelle. All right. Who gonna have? Okay, Anne Marie, is that your hand up? Okay, right. I thought you put your finger up. I'm like, this is not the time to have to go into the bathroom in the church finger, because I'm gonna count you in right about now. I see Shawnee's hand up. I see. I want to. I want to say your name. You got R-E-R-E. I see Teresa's hand. Oh, by June. I'm serious. Y'all don't play with my emotions, Merlot. And I want to see everybody's book. I want to see everybody's book. Because if y'all, and let me tell you, we in COVID, you get a grace. You get it by July 15th. That's your grace. That's your grace. That's your grace. To get your book out, to get your story out. Number one, for you, you're going to feel like you accomplished something major right now. I still look at my books. I still kind of giggle under my breath, like, are you serious that I got this out? I still feel it. And then number two, for the person that you're never going to meet, you're never going to meet them physically, Melissa, but your book, some words in the book that you wrote, help them get back up again. And the reality is, unfortunately, there's some people on their way down into their dark cave that will be there right around June because they expected this all to stop in January. They expected it to stop in November. And I would pray that they would take one of our books in the cave with them. That's all I'm saying. I'm a healer. I'm a healer. I'm a servant leader. I'm a businesswoman, all of that wrapped in one. And I know that this is a tool. It's not only a tool for you to do more good in the world, but it's also a tool for the person picking it up. It is a revenue stream, and it is a catalyst, and it is a credibility maker. It is all that as well. And so if you can do good and do well, I'm just saying, no apology required, but you got to get in action. And so some of you are already in action, I assume. I'm not sure. Some of you may already be. You're on with the two who I call the two experts. So I'm assuming you're in some form of action. And I hope any words that I've said can encourage you to stay in action and to turn it up, to make the decision when you want to be on the other side of this is done. Check box next. Somebody write in chat, check box next, explanation point. That means done, and what's next? Check box next. That's what we are. Check box. Yeah, check box next. Right. Check box next. And that's what you want to have. And then you want to tell the story. Remember, last thing I'm gonna say is you're protecting your future memories of yourself. Let me say that again, Merlot, because it's deep. You're protecting your future memories of yourself, Shawnee, based on the decisions you make right now. Now, I'm going to go a little further. When you walk out 20 years and you look back at your memories, you want to make sure you have the ones you wanted to have. So, right now, you're protecting your future memories of yourself by what you do now. So, you don't want to get 20 years out. And right, it's deep. You don't want to get 20 years out and say, man, I didn't do that thing. Protect your future memories. And I'm doing that on every level, health wise, just during the pandemic, especially. I'm like, who do I want to say I was during the pandemic? Who do I want to say I was during global unrest? Who do I want to say I was during political insanity? And whoever I want to say I was, that navigates my actions. Sometimes it doesn't match my emotion. Let me be clear. It don't always match my emotion, but I rise above the emotion to the action to protect the memory. Does that make sense, you guys? That's a deep statement. So I want to make sure y'all get it because that's deep. And so if your future memory of yourself is that I did this, I knocked this out, this is an achievement, then protect it. And the only way you protect it is get it done. Check box next. And again, I'm a close to the best person. I have a lot of publishers in my tribe, a lot of publishers in my community. I got a lot of people I can refer. You probably haven't heard me refer anybody in the last 2 years because if I can't stand behind them, then I don't, and I'm not for sale. My endorsement is never for sale. And so even though I've been offered quite a bit by big publishers, I need to know you're gonna hold their hand. You're going to sit beside them. You're going to pray with them. You're going to get them back up. You're going to edit as if it were your book. You're going to read every single line. You're not going to